Hello, second graders. Today we're going to finish reading Penguins by Seymour Simon. Emperors, the largest penguins in the world, stand up to 4 feet high and weigh as much as 100 pounds. The emperors spend cold, windy winters on the open Antarctic ice, 100 miles or more inland. To stay warm, emperors clump together in huge huddled masses. They take turns moving to the inside of the group where they're partly protected from the frigid winds that howl at more than 100 miles per hour. After a courtship of several weeks, a female emperor penguin lays a single egg and leaves it atop the feet of her mate. She immediately departs for the distant sea to feed. For about 65 days, through blinding storms and below freezing temperatures, the father balances the egg on his feet and keeps it warm by covering it with his brood patch. Finally, the mothers return at the time the chicks are hatching. They take over the feedings and the males head to sea. 7 or 8 weeks later, the chicks are large enough to make their trip. King penguins are second in size only to emperors. A king is almost 3 feet tall and can weigh nearly 35 pounds. It lives on the cold, rocky coasts of islands surrounding Antarctica. The king penguin has golden orange swatches on its neck and around its head, a white belly, and a blue back. Kings don't waddle the way most penguins do. Instead, they run fairly quickly on their feet. Nesting colonies of up to 10,000 kings form on shore. Each penguin keeps its neighbor at an exact but close distance away. If a neighbor gets too close, it gets a nasty slap from a flipper or a jab from a beak. There's a caption here under this picture. It says Emperor Penguin. This is the label. It tells what's in the photo. Gen 2 penguins can grow as tall as 30 inches and can weigh up to 13 pounds. Their colorful orange bill sets them apart from other penguins. Also, no other penguin has such a large tail. Most Gen 2s live in colonies along the coasts of Antarctica. Gen 2s stay with their mates throughout the year. Mating pairs usually build nests of pebbles on bare ground. Year after year, they may return to the same inland nest to lay their 2 eggs. Macaroni penguins get their name from the long orange, yellow, and black feathery crests that rise above their eyes. They were named after a macaroni dandy, a hairstyle that was fashionable in the 18th century. Macaronis stand about 27 inches high and weigh about 9 pounds. They live around Antarctica mostly, on South Georgia, Crozet, Kerguelen, and the Heard Islands. Breeding season for macaronis starts in December when mating pairs lay 2 different sized eggs. The first egg is half the size of the second egg and usually does not hatch. Rockhoppers, the smallest of the Antarctic penguins, are slightly taller than 20 inches and weigh only 5.5 pounds. They live among the macaronis. Like the macaronis, they have feathered crests on their heads and have similar nesting and breeding habits. But rockhoppers are more aggressive than macaronis. Adélie penguins were named after the wife of Dumont d'Urville, one of the early explorers of Antarctic. Adéles are small penguins, about 27 inches in height, and weigh about 10 or 11 pounds. Adelays spend the harsh Antarctic winter months near the outer edges of the ice pack, where it is slightly warmer. They often stay at sea, resting in groups on pack ice and icebergs. As summer approaches, they breed on the coast or on barren island beaches. Adelaide rookeries range in size from less than 100 to hundreds of thousands of chicks. Chinstrap penguins are the same size as Adelaides. They get their name from a thin black line that circles under the chin, like a strap on a helmet. They breed in slightly warmer waters on islands off the coast of Antarctica. One of the largest colonies on Deception Island may have up to 1 million chinstraps. Chinstraps are among the boldest and most aggressive of all penguins. And this here is an Adelaide penguin. Other penguin species include royal penguins, who have yellow, orange, and black crests. Royals are found only on rocky Macquarie Island in the Pacific, south of New Zealand. They are the largest of the crested penguins. Erect crested penguins have long, spiky feathers that stand straight up from their heads. They live in the subantarctic regions of southern New Zealand. Blue, or little fairy penguins, are the smallest of all the penguins. Blues stand 16 inches high and weigh only 2 pounds. They live in the warmer waters around Australia, Tasmania, and New Zealand. Magellanic penguins, the largest of warm weather penguins, live on the stormy and rocky shores of Argentina and Chile. Yellow-eyed penguins, the third largest penguins, have yellow-orange cat-like eyes. They live along the coastal shores of New Zealand and neighboring islands. So Seymour Simon describes a lot of different varieties of penguins on this page. What is something interesting that you've learned about penguins? Despite the harsh weather, the penguins that live in and around Antarctica, such as these chinstrap penguins, survive in large numbers. But penguins that live in climates that are more temperate are not as fortunate. Some kinds are in danger of becoming extinct. There are only a few thousand Galapagos penguins left because of weather and ocean changes, known as El Niño, which have depleted the numbers of fish they can eat. South of Australia, only a few thousand Fiordland penguins remain due to the lack of fish. The development of coasts, overfishing, and pollution have also affected the penguin population. Pollution in ocean waters reduces the ability of these penguins to lay eggs that hatch successfully. Some researchers estimate that tens of thousands of penguins are killed each year by oil spills. Along the Australian and New Zealand coasts, cats, dogs, and other animals feed on penguin chicks. Each penguin species struggles in a different way to survive. By learning more about penguins, we can begin to understand how to help them and other endangered sea animals to survive in our changing world. So think about some of the challenges that penguins face. And in the back of the book, there's a glossary which tells you what some different vocabulary words mean. There's an index which tells you what page you can find some information. Okay? And there's more background about the Smithsonian Institution, a famous museum, okay, and other books by Seymour Simon. This is our story about penguins.